Welcome to the University of Kansas School of Law's Career Services Boot Camp. My name is Meredith Wiggins, and I am the Assistant Director for Career Services. In this video, we will go over how to create an effective elevator pitch. The objectives for this presentation are to provide an overview of how an elevator pitch functions, and then to break it down into its component parts. I'll then provide some examples of strong elevator pitches and conclude this presentation with some top tips to keep in mind while you're creating your elevator pitch. Basically, an elevator pitch is a quick statement of approximately 2 to 3 sentences that lets you communicate who you are and what you're looking for to potential employers and contacts. Elevator pitches aren't about directly asking someone to give you a job. Instead, a well-developed elevator pitch allows you to clearly and effectively share your interests and goals for the purposes of making a connection with another person and gathering more information about an organization, a field, or a specific opportunity. The elevator pitch usually includes some standard information that employers or potential networking connections will want to know about you. First, who you are. Second, what brought you to law school or to a particular practice interest. And third, why you're interested in speaking with them specifically. All of this information should be delivered in about 30 seconds. Now that we've gotten an overview of what an elevator pitch contains, let's break it down. It's most effective to begin your elevator pitch by simply introducing yourself. State your name and your year in school, and if you go by a nickname, this is a good place to mention that. If you want to share your personal pronouns, you can also do that near the start of your elevator pitch, but you are not required to, even if the other person has shared theirs. For example, I might approach a potential employer at a job fair and say, "Hi, my name is Meredith Wiggins, and I'm a 1L at KU Law. I go by MJ, and my pronouns are she and hers." Next, you should briefly address your why. Students often believe that you have to know exactly the practice area or field of law that you want to pursue in order to create a strong elevator pitch. And certainly, if you have a strong interest in a certain area, it's worth mentioning. But if you don't, that's completely fine. You can also choose to highlight other experience, talk about why you chose to attend law school, or mention classes you've enjoyed so far. It's way better to talk about what you're interested in exploring than it is to pretend to have interest in an area you don't actually care about just for the sake of seeming certain. You should close your elevator pitch by inviting the other person into the conversation, making it clear what you're hoping to learn from them. Do you want to learn more about their individual career path? What it's like to work with their organization? Classes that would be useful for moving into a certain practice area? Avoid yes or no questions and focus on how you can create a genuine connection and approach each interaction with a sense of curiosity about what you might learn. Now that we've had a chance to go through the component parts of an elevator pitch, let's look at a few specific examples. Feel free to pause the video and take a moment to read through the elevator pitch on the current slide. The speaker, Deshauna Jones, makes her aim very clear. She wants to do work that helps people and would let her use her impressive language skills. She mentions immigration as a particular area of the law she knows she's interested in, but then she opens up the conversation by asking the person she's speaking with about other areas that they think might be a good fit for her, as well as potential experiences that she should consider exploring. Her final question or statement makes this elevator pitch suitable for a wide variety of employers and potential contacts, not just those already working in immigration, as it emphasizes that she wants to hear about how this organization could potentially overlap with her pre-existing goals. In this example, again, feel free to pause the video to read it. Notice that the speaker, Andy Olufemi, doesn't point to a particular area of law she'd like to practice. Instead, she highlights her desire to use certain skills, writing and research, to affect change. And she then points to a broad topic she wants to know more about, the firm's practice areas, but personalizes her question by asking what led the individual she's speaking with to join the organization. This approach gives the firm representative the opportunity to tie their own experience into the information Andy is seeking and increases the chance that the two of them can form a more personal connection. In contrast to the previous examples, on this slide, speaker Nick Andrews is undecided about what area of law they might like to explore or the skills they might like to use most often. Instead, they highlight their connection to KU Law and they focus on the classes they've enjoyed most. One important factor here is that rather than saying something like, I don't know what I want to do, they take a positive approach. They emphasize that they are exploring their interests. This is a small change, but it sets a very different tone for the interaction and makes them seem much more confident and future focused. Make sure that your elevator pitch strikes a positive tone. Lastly, here are a few tips to keep in mind as you work on your elevator pitch and begin using it in the real world. Consider creating more than one elevator pitch. Have one that's more general, that you can use in situations where you're interacting with people from a variety of practices or backgrounds, and some that are more specific. For example, if you're at a meeting of trial law attorneys versus a group of business law attorneys. In these cases, it may make sense to highlight different experiences or interests in your elevator pitch. You should practice your elevator pitch until you are able to recite it in a way that sounds fluid and confident. Otherwise, you risk stumbling over your words, forgetting something important, or sounding like you're reading off a teleprompter. Give yourself time to get familiar with what you want to say. Elevator pitches don't have to be all business. Depending on the situation you're in, you might want to include a personal interest or two. This isn't always relevant or appropriate, but done well, it can be a great way to establish a connection with the people you're speaking with. And finally, make sure to approach every interaction with an open mind. Don't assume that there's nothing you can learn from a given employer or individual, even if their work seems very different from what you had in mind for yourself. You may learn about a great opportunity with an organization that wasn't previously on your radar. And even if you don't, at the very least, this gives you the chance to increase your network and become known as a genuine and thoughtful part of the legal community. We hope that this presentation helps you as you begin to create your elevator pitch. Please feel free to reach out to the CSO for more guidance or clarification, and rock chalk!